Hello and welcome to episode 5 of Wrestling in 1995. Today's episode I will be covering Smoky Mountain Wrestling. And as usual, we will be starting in January of 1995. The champions to start the year would be Smoky Mountain Wrestling Heavyweight Champion, the Dirty White Boy. The Smoky Mountain Wrestling Tag Team Champions were the Rock and Roll Express, and the Smoky Mountain Wrestling Beat the Champ TV Champion was Buddy Landel. A bit of a quick history before we get into 1995. Smoky Mountain Wrestling was founded in 1991 by Jim Cornette, Rick Rubin, and Sandy Scott. Jim Cornette had just left WCW the prior year. Rick Rubin was a famous music producer, and he was the financial backer of Smoky Mountain Wrestling. The first set of TV tapings in 1991 were between October and November. By 1995, Smoky Mountain Wrestling was nearing its end. Ending 1994, the two big rivalries was for the Smoky Mountain Wrestling Heavyweight title, Dirty White Boy defending versus Buddy Landel, and the Rock and Roll Express defending the tag team titles against New Jack and Mustafa the Gangstas. These feuds would continue into 1995. On TV in 1995, Buddy Landel is defending the Beat the Champ TV title every single week. He's defending it against Scott McKeever, Tommy Pittner, George South, and even the Smoky Mountain Wrestling Heavyweight Champion himself, the Dirty White Boy. The Beat the Champ TV Championship was a unique championship, and here's how it worked. Every week on TV, an opponent would randomly be drawn to challenge the Beat the Champ TV champion. Every title defense you would receive $1,000. If you could get 5 wins, that's 1 title win and 4 title defenses, you would receive a $5,000 bonus and the title would be vacated. What's odd is there was never a physical belt made to represent the Beat the Champ TV championship. Chris Candido had won the NWA World Heavyweight Championship in November of 1994 and was defending the title at Smoky Mountain Wrestling shows. Defending the title mostly against Boo Bradley. Boo Bradley would go on to be Balls Mahoney in ECW. In 1995, Glenn Jacobs was wrestling under the name Unabomb. Glenn Jacobs, if you didn't know, is the future Kane in the WWF and WWE. In January of 1995, Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert is in the territory. The following month, Eddie Gilbert would pass away. He was only 33 years old. Another future WWE superstar is D'Lo Brown, who is wrestling with the Gangstas at this time. On January 28th at Super Saturday Night Fever, the USWA's Jerry the King Lawler would beat the Dirty White Boy to win the Smoky Mountain Wrestling Championship. On February 6th, the Beat the Champ TV Championship was vacated and won by Boo Bradley that same night. Boo Bradley would lose the title in his first title defense to Billy Black, and Billy Black would only get 1 successful title defense before the title would be vacated once again. The vacant Beat the Champ TV Championship was won by Killer Kyle. On February 24th, Chris Candido would lose the NWA World Heavyweight title to Dan the Beast Severn. On February 25th at the Brawl in the Hall show, the Rock and Roll Express would beat Al Snow and Unabomb by disqualification, and the Dirty White Boy would beat Jerry Lawler also by disqualification. Both these matches were title matches. The main event that night was a tag team street fight match where the Heavenly Bodies beat the Gangstas. The very next night was Sunday Bloody Sunday. On this show, Bobby Blaze beat Jerry the King Lawler to win the Smoky Mountain Wrestling Heavyweight Championship. He would immediately have to defend the title versus Buddy Landel, and he would successfully defend that title versus Buddy Landel. The next big show would be on April 7th, and this show would be called Bluegrass Brawl 3. On this show, Bobby Blaze would defend the Smoky Mountain Wrestling title versus Buddy Landel, but this match would end in a draw. The Smoky Mountain Wrestling Tag Team titles would change hands on this night as Al Snow and Unabomb beat the Rock and Roll Express. The main event that night saw the Gangstas, New Jack, Mustafa, and D'Lo Brown lose in a handicap match versus Tracy Smothers and from the WWF, The Undertaker. The following day there would be another big show called Fright Night. On that show, Buddy Landel would finally win the Smoky Mountain Wrestling Heavyweight Championship after beating Bobby Blaze. The main event that night was a 6-man tag team I Quit match that saw Bob Armstrong, Tracy Smothers, and The Undertaker beat the Gangstas. Not long after this, Bobby Blaze won the Beat the Champ TV Championship after beating Killer Kyle. Bobby Blaze would successfully defend the Beat the Champ TV Championship 2 times, but the title after that would disappear from the television show, and it would quietly be retired. The top challenger to Buddy Landel's Smoky Mountain Wrestling Heavyweight title was Steve Armstrong. Steve Armstrong would get a lot of DQ wins at live events but would never win the title. In June, Smoky Mountain Wrestling would lose one of their top tag teams as the Gangstas, New Jack and Mustafa, would leave for ECW. On July 1st, the Smoky Mountain Wrestling Heavyweight Championship would be vacated. On July 6th, the Dirty White Boy and Tracy Smothers would win the Smoky Mountain Wrestling Tag Team titles, beating Al Snow and Unabomb. On August 4th, the biggest show of the year for Smoky Mountain Wrestling would take place. This event was called the Super Bowl of Wrestling. Multiple promotions had championship matches on this card. The USWA Tag Team Champions PG-13 successfully defended their titles versus Curtis Thompson and Jackie Fulton. The Midwest Territorial Wrestling Championship would change hands as Al Snow beat Marty Jannetty. Dan the Beast Severn successfully defended the NWA World Heavyweight title versus Bobby Blaze. The USWA Heavyweight title would change hands as Brad Armstrong beat the champion Billy Jack Haynes. The Smoky Mountain Wrestling Tag Team Championships also changed hands as the Heavenly Bodies beat the Dirty White Boy and Tracy Smothers. In the main event, WWF Intercontinental Champion Shawn Michaels successfully defended his title versus Buddy Landel. On August 12th, at the Fire on the Mountain 1995 Night of Dream matches, we would finally get a new Smoky Mountain Wrestling Heavyweight Champion as Brad Armstrong won the vacant title after beating Buddy Landel in a Lumberjacks with Tennis Rackets match. The very next night, a one-night tag team tournament would take place. This tournament was called the Carolina Cup. The finals would see the Dirty White Boy and Tracy Smothers beat the Heavenly Bodies to win the tournament. On October 20th, we would see the Smoky Mountain Wrestling title change hands in a tag team match as Terry Gordy would win the title while teaming with Headbanger Thrasher to beat the champion Brad Armstrong and the Wolfman. At the Thanksgiving Thunder 1995 Night 1 event, we would see Brad Armstrong win back the Smoky Mountain Wrestling Heavyweight title, beating Terry Gordy in a country whipping match. A few days later, Wildfire Tommy Rich would beat Brad Armstrong to win the Smoky Mountain Wrestling Heavyweight title. Smoky Mountain Wrestling would go out of business in late 1995. The Smoky Mountain Wrestling Heavyweight Championship was already being defended on USWA shows. Jerry the King Lawler would win the Smoky Mountain Wrestling Heavyweight Championship on December 26. The Smoky Mountain Wrestling Heavyweight title would officially be retired in 1996, with Jerry the King Lawler being the final champion. The Heavenly Bodies would be the final Smoky Mountain Wrestling Tag Team Champions, and Bobby Blaze was officially the final Beat the Champ TV Champion. A lot of fans from the territory days of wrestling really enjoyed Smoky Mountain Wrestling. It's a legendary promotion, and it's earned its spot in the history of professional wrestling. And with that, that'll be the end of this episode. Thank you all for listening, and I will see you next week.